Stop signing the dotted line on $76,000 family cars. Get one of these. So as we're getting ready and packed up to move to Las Cruces, I'm going to do a little mini series for you guys over the next few weeks. And it's going to be alternative ideas and different vehicles you can buy that are in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, maybe a little more, that prove there's some really great older cars out there. You don't have to get an $80,000 car. I know we all like to keep up with the Joneses and try to say, well, I need that newer car. No, you really don't. And here's the thing. In today's world, with the way things are so expensive. Even parts and things I order in the shop are double and triple what I remember them being. And that being the case, if everything's so expensive, this can really clear off some room on your financial plate by not buying these new cars. We're going to talk more about that here in a little bit towards the end. But this is actually Euro-Asian Bob's car. It's a 1999 Pontiac Montana. When's the last time you've seen one of these? And especially in this good of shape. This thing has 159,000 miles on it, but it looks, drives, and even smells like new on the inside. This thing is not $78,000, but it has front and rear AC, front and rear heat, rear radio, all kinds of really great features. And guys, I drove it up here from Euro-Asian Bob's place to film it today, and I was just like, this drives so good, and you don't have to break the bank. It's a no-brainer. Let's take a look around this thing. No, those are not BMW kidney grills, those are Pontiac grills. And as we come around to the side, I want to talk to you guys about how modern vans today, they look like an insect or a shuttlecraft from Star Troopers, the movie or something. This is back when vans were a van, and being with the cladding on it and the two-tone color, it looks really nice. As we come around to the back, you can see it just has the Pontiac emblem, nothing fancy or anything. I would not be ashamed to drive this at all. I think it looks really cool. I love the color scheme, I love the 5-spoke wheels. And as you saw as we go around, the paint is pretty much immaculate on this thing. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. There are so many cars that come into my shop that are not safe to drive. I'm here to let them know what's going on and what they have to do to fix it. For those of you that have been following me for a while know that I'm all about keeping you safe. Not only when you're driving, but all the time. For over a year, I've relied on Reolink cameras to monitor my house and shop. Their cameras are so easy to install and set up. The latest camera they sent me, their all-in-one solar-powered floodlight security camera, it combines 3 items into one small, powerful package. Having just a camera by itself is great, but at night when most crimes happen, most cameras struggle to get clear, crisp images. That's not the case with this solar floodlight camera. If it detects motion, the floodlight turns on. In the app, you can adjust the brightness to 1,000 lumens and change the color temperature. Installing this camera only took a couple of screws, no running power or connecting wires. The solar panel just needs 1 hour of sunlight each day to fully operate at night. When motion is detected, the app sends me a notification and an email with a sharp 2K 4 megapixel 150 degree image. Even at night, I get color night vision images. This floodlight camera is really awesome, but they also sent me this cute little Magicam camera. It goes anywhere you go. It uses 2 AA lithium batteries. It can last up to 9 months. Or it can be plugged in for 24/7 recording. Plus, it has a simple magnetic back that lets me attach it on anything metal. So if I need protection in the shop or outside, it goes where I need it. Their app has great AI detection that allows you to personalize alerts from when people, animals, or vehicles are detected. Plus, the one app tracks all my Reolink cameras for free, no monthly subscriptions. If you're serious about keeping an eye on things that you value most, I strongly suggest checking out Reolink cameras. No excuse this Prime Day, snag up to 48% off of Reolink cameras now. Now let's get back to this Montana van. I think, Mrs. Wizard, I could use this little camera at a car show to see if anyone's tampering with my car.
Ooh, that's a great idea, but I'm holding this camera right now, so let's put that one away and continue with our video.
All right, sounds good. So under the hood, you can see all the metal and all the plastic and all the pieces look brand new. Again, guys, 159,000 miles. This is the 3400. This is not the venerable 3800. This is the long of line of series of 2.8, 3.1, 3.4, 3.9. These are fairly good engines, and you can see that they're easy to get to the belt, easy to get to the water pump. It's literally just right there. You can get to the front side of the engine, the left side of the engine, the intake. Everything's really pretty accessible. And here's the thing, all the parts you just saw are on the shelf right now. You don't have to wait 6 weeks for the parts to show up. You don't have to go to England or Italy or something, or some crazy place to get parts. These are all easy to obtain and cheap parts. When they break, they don't cost $7,000, they cost $70.
Okay, Wizard, how is that possible? Pontiac went out of business in 2010.
They did go out of business in 2010, but the thing is this is a GM. There's lots of shared Buick, Oldsmobile, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Cadillac, all kinds of parts that are shared. This water pump will fit on a Chevy and a Buick or any of the other vehicles that use the 3400 engine, so they're just General Motors parts. They're so common and so plentiful. It makes it so great. I've actually heard stories of the brand new cars having so many engine troubles and there's no parts. That won't be the case with one of these. This is very easy to work on and very cheap to fix. The interior of this van, guys, is like new, and when I got into it, picked it up at Eurasian Bob's place, it even still smells new. I don't know how all these years later. But take it away, Mrs. Wizard. This is back in the early 2000s, late 90s range, all the styling, all the buttons and everything in there. It takes me back in time, guys. It's really cool.
Okay, ladies and gents, we don't have to turn any keys on because this is called analog, pre-digital, and it has 159,363 miles. I love this gauge cluster. So simple, and it's just easy to read, nothing fancy going on. Look at the dash. I love the 90s where they had this dash that went on to a different time zone. Yeah, I love it. It's so big it has to have 2 tones up there. Of course it is having some safety features. Got an airbag over there. Ooh, we've got the slider equalizer. Liking it. We've got simple dials that we're used to seeing in today's cars. I like these little rockers. And of course there are some options that this one didn't get, but it did get these. So, okay, that's cute. We do have a little spot here for an auxiliary port. Got an ashtray. Then we have another little spot down there, and it's a minivan. This is the land of storage. This pulls out to, we can hold cassettes and CDs and some coins. Nice. As we get to our seats, yes, they are kind of an ivory color, and this is the 90s, so we've got some speckled kind of design in there, liking it. But, okay, so it's looking good. I don't see any rips and tears, but let's slide down here. We've got a net here. I'm not sure what you'd keep in there, but it keeps everything from going around. But we also have a cup holder here, so nice, easy for the driver to reach. Door card. Look at that. It does have some hard plastic, and a lot of times hard plastic in older cars breaks. Not in this case. And that passenger does have another cup holder there in that door card. But let's move to the back. So here we are in our back seat, and we have to go to the back seat here because I can't just turn around because this has got 3 rows. So the seats are looking really nice. Again, this seat also has a cup holder, and that, ladies and gentlemen, that is a manual door. And there's one on the driver's side as well. That thing does not have any electricity to it. You have to open it and you have to close it, which is a great thing, which means it can't break easily. So this is a 7-passenger van, and so we got space back there for the last 3 people. Would not want to be the person to sit on the center one there because you got a little bit of a split there. But also those seats can go down in a 50-50 split. The headliner, I don't think they ever carried children in here. This is insane. No Cheeto fingers, nothing like that. But one thing we are not seeing here is we're not seeing any screens or anything like that. The only thing we see on our ceiling are the controls to our HVAC system and some, controls for the radio up here with also nice. I like that there's headphones. That is it. So there's no screens, which is also another good thing because once those screens die, what do you use? Yeah, we all have phones and iPads today, so we're going to keep using that. We don't need this van to hold it. So here we are back at that steering wheel. I've got Pontiac here in the center. We've got controls for our radio on both sides. Cruise controls back here on the stock. One thing that's kind of interesting is way back there on the floor, there's where our e-brake is. Haven't seen one of those designs in a long time, but enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air and see what it looks like on the underneath.
So right off the bat, we look in our radiator core support area. We don't see any coolant leaking or anything like that. And in the engine area, there's a very tiny oil pan leak coming around the oil pan gasket. It's very small. I don't even know if I would mess with it until it got worse. But we check out these wheels here. The brakes are about 60 or 70% remaining. The CV boots are good. Our sway bar link is all intact. The strut looks a little bit old, but it's not blown. Same thing over here. Brakes are about 60 to 70% remaining. CV boots are good. Strut is in good shape. And those sway bar links are good. So this is definitely the era of front-wheel drive, and all the mechanical business is up there pretty much. It's so easy to work on these guys. Look underneath. There's nothing but just open space. Here's our single exhaust, charcoal canister, fuel filter, fuel tank. That's it. It's very, very simple under here. We come back to the back. We just have a solid beam axle with some trailing arms. We do have a panhard bar here that keeps sideways motion to a minimum. And on our back brakes, they are drums. We do see that the shocks are not blown out. It has stock exhaust. Over here, drum brakes, shocks are not blown. So here's the part that could be expensive on any minivan is the rear heat and the rear AC. If anything goes wrong inside of there, it can be quite a teardown in the interior to get to it, but this one is operating perfectly. Another thing that I really like that I'm not seeing is rust. The whole bottom side of this car, other than exhaust and things, which is normal, the structure of the car is rust-free. And it has the tiniest little spare. Take a look. It's tiny, Mrs. Wizard.
It's definitely a donut.
But it has plenty of air in it, doing good, so let's check out those tires. There's two things that are really good right here that I love. Number one, the date is 14 of 19, which means these are about 6 or 7 years old, but they're still within the range of being usable and safe. And 15-inch wheels with nice thick sidewalls. That's what made these older cars comfortable going down the road. You don't need 28s on your car. This is comfortable. And these aren't $700 and $800 a tire. They may be $100 a tire. Way cheaper. Comfortable and cheaper. How can you complain against that? Let's get this thing on the ground. To me, this is an awesome van. I actually grew up as a kid in a minivan with a Mercury Villager. My parents bought one when it was brand new, and I love that van. I got the back seat, and I just had all this room, and it was really, really comfortable. The era of this van is not as old as back when they had R12, and it's going to be unreliable because of age, but it's not new that it has, like Mrs. Wizard said in her interior review, it's not full of touch screens and all this stuff that's going to break. It has the modern amenities, but it's old school architecture as far as the design, the styling, and things of that nature. And this whole series, which is called Don't Spend $76,000, that's the name of this series. With this van, what do you think this would cost? 10 grand, 12 grand, 15 grand? It's in really good shape and it drives like a new vehicle. And if that's what you thought, you're wrong. $69.95, 7 grand. That's it. Not 76 grand. This is only 7 grand. And it's got at least 100,000 more miles or more left in it. Back in the day when these were new, these were kind of viewed as frumpy or soccer mom type of a vehicle, or, oh, it's just not cool enough. I think it's cool. I think this thing looks amazing, by the way. But that kind of is going by the wayside. Like I've just mentioned, the cost of new cars are so out of range. I mean, where we could afford this much, new cars are up here. The average American can't buy that anymore. These are where it's at. In fact, if you take a look at this picture, I read this article that said Gen Z is now buying Grandpa's old Buicks. Who do you think could have given that advice, Mrs. Wizard?
I can't say. I really can't say, dear. That goes against every housewife's rules of, agreeing with her husband.
Gen Z doesn't give a rip about that styling. They want reliability. They want to haul their family around. It needs to be cheap. It needs to be something that's not going to be broke down all the time. And they're finding out these older cars, although they maybe look a little frumpy, they fit the bill and they don't have to sign their life away on some 10-year mortgage at $1,200 a month. They can totally afford it. It's got plenty of life left in it. Guys, I drove this thing from Eurasian Bob's. The AC is so cold, I had to turn it down. Everything works beautifully on this. I don't care what income level you're at. If you need a family vehicle, get one of these. In fact, contact Eurasian Bob in the link in the description below. Buy this one. Here's another article I just read that's really interesting. I'm starting to read up on these articles. 60% of Gen Z is wanting to get the classic cars. We're not talking about 1969 classic cars. That's the older Gen X and older, that's our classic cars. Gen Z and millennials' classic cars are the 90s. I know, guys, it's like, that's impossible. That's only 5 years old. No. I was walking around this car here a little bit ago, and I started counting it up, and I was like, that's 27 years ago. But this is their classic cars, the 90s. And it says that Gen Z, 60% of them are buying these classic cars because the new ones are boring as hell.
Yeah, Wizard, because who wants to spend, a fortune on a Jaguar that looks like a Honda?
Yeah, there's a lot of Jaguar. The new Jags look like a Honda Accord. Come on. Where is the styling? Where is the passion? Where's the love in the cars? Designing. They don't want your garbage. This is what they want now. They want this old school, retro, drives good, reliable, and $7,000, not $70,000. Huge, huge savings. So when you're looking at an older car though, just like I push on any car, but especially these older cars, pre-purchase, not post, not after, pre-purchase inspection. Get it checked over for rust. Make sure it doesn't have any massive leaks. Make sure it shifts fine and drives fine. The AC works, the cruise control works. That little $200 inspection can literally save you $10,000. If the engine's bad, the transmission's bad, or the whole bottom end is rusted, definitely get one of those inspections. And also check with your bank, because when you get into the older vehicles, if a bank gives a loan on an older car like this, they may have a little bit higher rate, but you're still saving boatloads of cash, tons. So as we do this car series, I'm going to be bringing in examples of, I found this car, it's really nice, it's really cheap. You should be looking in this. I'm not trying to tell people what to do with their finances. What I'm trying to do is offer alternatives so that you can enjoy taking your kids to the beach, go on a vacation, and not strapping yourself on those monthly payments. Enjoy life. That's kind of all I'm saying. So if you're curious what kind of tools we're really not going to use on this one, because really nothing's wrong with it, that we use in the shop every day, tried, true, and proven, that we work on other cars in the shop as well, they're listed for sale in our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. If you purchase any of those tools, we get a small cut, and we really appreciate it. And we are soon to move to Las Cruces. If you want to get your car worked on, you live in the Las Cruces, New Mexico area, give Crazy D in the office a call and let them know I need to get on to the Las Cruces schedule. We open July 13th down there, which means more videos, more car repairs. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Thanks for watching.